My boyfriend told me he couldn't afford a vacation this year, so I planned a solo beach trip, but when I posted a photo, his aunt accidentally liked it from his secret honeymoon account. Turns out, he married someone else 2 weeks ago and forgot to block me. So I crashed their destination wedding, handed his new bride a flash drive full of proof, and left before dessert. Now his entire family thinks I'm a villain, but they weren't ready for the truth. I wasn't the ex. I was the fiancé. And he still owes me a ring. If you had told me 6 months ago that I'd end up standing on a beach in a dress I bought for our honeymoon, watching the man I was supposed to marry kiss another woman at his wedding, I would have laughed. Not because it's funny, but because I was so naive back then, so stupidly in love with a man who knew exactly how to lie, how to stall, how to keep two women in orbit like planets around the same sun, a sun that was burning us both alive. So here's my story. Not the version his family spread. Not the one his new wife probably cried over. The truth, every excruciating, humiliating, petty, and devastating part of it. Because while they were busy calling me a villain, they didn't know I still had the ring. And the receipts. My name is Clara, F27, and for the past 3 years, I thought I was building a life with the love of my life, Ethan, M29. He was charming, low-key, emotionally attentive, or so I thought, and made me feel like I had finally found someone who wanted to build a future with me. We met at a tech networking event. He worked in cybersecurity, I was a freelance designer. One conversation turned into drinks turned into date nights, and before I knew it, we were living together. For 2 years, everything seemed real. He met my friends, came to my sister's engagement party, even got my dad's awkward approval. Then last year, he proposed. It wasn't flashy. No fireworks, no Instagram reels. Just a quiet moment in our apartment, a small diamond ring, and a whispered "I want to grow old with you." I said yes. We told our families. His mom cried. My mom screamed with joy. We booked a small venue in Santorini for the following summer, nothing huge, just close friends and a few family members. We were excited. In love. Or at least, I was. Then things started to shift. Subtly at first. Ethan started taking longer work trips. His phone got more guarded. He turned off notifications. Sometimes, he'd sleep facing the wall, claiming he was just wiped out. I asked once, gently, "Is everything okay between us?" He kissed my forehead. "I'm just stressed, babe. The wedding's expensive. And work's piling up. You have nothing to worry about." He even brought up postponing the wedding to save more money. I didn't love the idea, but I wanted to support him. Looking back now, I think he was testing me, seeing how much I'd been before I broke. Then came the vacation lie. Around March, I suggested we go on a short pre-wedding trip. Nothing fancy, maybe a long weekend by the beach. Somewhere peaceful before the final wedding chaos. Ethan frowned. "Clara, I really can't. Work's insane right now, and honestly, I can't afford to take any more time off." I was disappointed but understanding. "Okay, no worries." He smiled and squeezed my hand. "Why don't you go somewhere? Just you. Clear your head, get some sun. You deserve it." At the time, I thought that was sweet. Now? I realize he was trying to get me out of the way. So I did it. I booked a solo beach trip to a quiet resort in Mexico. Took my sketchbook, a few summer dresses, and the sunscreen Ethan always used to tease me for forgetting. I didn't even think twice about posting a photo. Just a simple selfie on the balcony, hair up, soft golden hour light, the ocean behind me. Captioned, "A little peace before the storm," sun emoji, ocean wave emoji, thought bubble emoji. Nothing dramatic. But that post? That post changed everything. Because 2 hours later, someone liked it. A name I didn't recognize at first, aunt.mel_loveslove. Weird handle. 0 posts. Private account. But the profile pic was blurry, a woman in a blue dress, hugging a man whose side profile looked painfully familiar. My heart dropped. I clicked the name. Followed. Waited. 10 minutes later, it accepted. I scrolled through the hidden highlights, and then I saw it. The wedding album. The first photo was of a tropical beach. Then a shot of hotel slippers labeled, Mr. and Mrs. and finally, a photo of Ethan. Wearing the exact tuxedo I helped him get fitted for. Smiling beside a beautiful woman in a mermaid cut gown. Kissing her forehead beneath a floral arch. Hashtag forever. Starts. Now. My breath caught. I stared at it, unblinking. Check the date. 2 weeks ago. Not only was Ethan already married, he got married 2 weeks ago, while still texting me goodnight and complaining about work stress. I scrolled further. There were dozens of pictures. Ethan's mom was there. His brothers. A whole guest list. People I had met, laughed with, shared meals with. And no one said a word. Not one person reached out. Not one whisper. Not even a vague "you okay?" text. He'd married someone else. While I was still planning our postponed wedding. I nearly threw up. But then came the final blow. I clicked the tagged accounts. One of them? A joint honeymoon profile. At Ethan. And Live. Forever. And guess what? That was the account that liked my beach photo. He forgot to block me. Or maybe she didn't know who I was. But his new wife's son accidentally gave me the breadcrumb that unraveled everything. My hand shook. I took screenshots. Every photo. Every comment. Every hashtag. Then I did something uncharacteristic of me. I got up. I poured a glass of wine. And I started planning my own trip. But this time? I wasn't going for peace. I was going for revenge. I didn't cry. Not when I saw the wedding photos. Not when I scrolled through comments calling them soulmates. Not even when I realized his mom, the woman who hugged me like a daughter last Christmas, was grinning in every photo like she hadn't just betrayed me too. But I did pour myself another glass of wine. Then I opened a folder on my laptop that I hadn't touched in months. A folder labeled Forever Files. Inside it? Venue contracts. Guest list spreadsheets. Ring invoices. Payment receipts. Every single step of the wedding I had spent a year planning. While he was planning another one behind my back. And at the very bottom? A little subfolder marked messages. See, I'm not the kind of person who deletes things. Call it sentimentality. Call it paranoia. But I keep receipts. Text messages, voicemails, call logs, even screenshots of Pinterest boards we made together. I had messages from Ethan telling me how excited he was for our honeymoon. From 2 months ago. While he was apparently already engaged to someone else. But here's the thing, I wasn't going to use these to cry over. I was going to weaponize them. I spent the next 4 hours curating. I made a presentation, no, really, a full-on digital timeline of our relationship. Photos of us together. Texts with dates. Voice memos of him saying I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle. Even a short clip from the morning he proposed. I'd filmed it on my phone while crying happy tears. Then I compiled it all onto a sleek little flash drive I'd bought for wedding planning. Ironically, it still had a gold ring sticker on it. I slapped a label on it in Sharpie, thought you should know. And then? I booked a flight. Destination, St. Lucia. The resort tagged in the honeymoon profile was exclusive, luxury, and expensive. I emptied my savings without blinking. He thought he'd stolen my vacation? He was about to learn that you don't mess with a woman who's got nothing left to lose, and screenshots to prove it. By the time I boarded the flight, I had my outfit picked. Not a loud, dramatic showstopper, no, that would have made it about me. Instead, I wore white. Not bridal white. A sleek, fitted dress, the one I originally bought for our engagement dinner but never wore. It hugged my figure just right. Elegant. Soft. Controlled. I wasn't there to scream. I wasn't there to fight. I was there to end things. On my terms. I arrived the night before their final wedding dinner, a post-wedding celebration soiree that Ethan's cousin, thanks to the honeymoon egg, had helpfully tagged. I checked into a neighboring resort and walked the property to get my bearings. It wasn't hard to find the event space. Candles. Tulle. Personalized menus that said E+L forever. Gross. The event was scheduled for 6:30 p.m. the next day. So that morning, I wrote a simple note and printed it at the hotel business center. Hi Liv. I thought you should have this. From one woman to another, timelines matter. Clara. I paperclipped the note to the flash drive. Slid it into a small ivory envelope. No name. No threats. Just truth. That evening, I did my hair in a loose bun. Wore soft perfume. Minimal makeup. At 6:27 p.m., I walked onto the resort grounds like I belonged there. No one stopped me. People were mingling. Laughing. Toasting champagne. Ethan stood by the open bar in a white linen shirt, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a drink. His new wife, Liv, was twirling in a flowy pink dress, beaming as a photographer snapped photos of them dancing. It would have been beautiful if it hadn't been built on lies. I didn't approach them. Instead, I walked straight up to Liv's sister. I recognized her from the Instagram stories, and smiled. "Hi," I said calmly. "Could you give this to Liv? It's important." She blinked, confused. "Ah. Sure. Who are you?" I just smiled again. "She'll understand." Then I turned, walked off the property, and caught a cab back to my hotel. I didn't wait for the explosion. I just let the fuse burn. What happened next? It didn't take long. By the time I got back to my room, my phone had 11 missed calls from Ethan. I didn't answer. The 12th came through with a voicemail. "Clara. What the F did you do? Why would you ruin someone's wedding like that? Are you trying to destroy me? You have no idea what you've done." I played it on speaker. Then I smiled. And deleted it. 2 hours later, I got a DM from Liv. Not a message. A screenshot. It was one of our texts, me and Ethan, talking about baby names we liked, sent just 6 weeks before his wedding. Under it, she wrote, "So you were the fiancé? Not the ex. Got it." That's all she said. No apology. No drama. But it was enough. I flew home the next morning. I didn't cry. I didn't check their profiles. I didn't have to. Because the flash drive had done its job. And the next part of my healing was going to be loud. Very loud. When I got back from St. Lucia, I expected silence. I thought they'd block me, blacklist me, pretend I never existed. That's what cowards do when they get caught, they erase the evidence. But Ethan's family? They didn't erase me. They came for me. It started small. A vague comment on one of my old Instagram posts from his cousin. Some people really don't know how to let go. Then a message from an unknown number. "You should be ashamed of what you did. He's moved on. Why can't you?" And then the group text started leaking. Screenshots forwarded from a mutual friend who still had access to one of Ethan's family chats. In it, I was being called crazy. Obsessed. That desperate ex who couldn't handle rejection. But the worst part? They were calling Liv the victim. Poor girl, having to deal with that psycho on her honeymoon. Can you imagine? Planning the perfect day and some ex shows up with a flash drive like it's a courtroom? They twisted everything. Made it sound like I had barged in screaming and shattered champagne glasses. Like I was some deranged movie villain in stilettos, screaming he's mine. None of them knew the truth. Because none of them bothered to ask. I stayed quiet for a week. Didn't post. Didn't reply. But then, something snapped. I was sitting at my desk, staring at the unused RSVP cards I'd ordered months ago for our original wedding. And I realized, they think silence equals guilt. They think the quieter I am, the more they can twist the story. So I did what any designer with 20 gigabytes of receipts, a perfectly timed sense of vengeance, and a healthy knowledge of Reddit formatting would do. I posted everything. I opened my notes app. Typed a brutally honest, time-stamped summary of our relationship, from the proposal to the double life to the honeymoon discovery. Attached photos. Screenshots. Wedding emails. A selfie of the ring, still in its velvet box. Then I logged into my old Reddit account and posted it to r/2 hot takes with the title. My fiancé told me he couldn't afford a vacation, so I went solo. Turns out, he was on his honeymoon. With another bride. It blew up. Within 48 hours, it had 47,000 upvotes. Thousands of comments. People begging for updates. Some even recognized the resort and tagged others. Someone said, "Wait, is this about Ethan R?" Another replied, "He used to date my friend." Classic cheater. My inbox exploded. But what really sealed the deal? Liv messaged me. Again. This time, it wasn't passive. She wrote, "I left him. Just wanted you to know." That was it. 7 words. But they felt like thunder. The next day, his mother called me. Yes. His mother. I let it ring the first time. Then the second. On the third try, I picked up. "Clara," she said, voice tight. "You need to take that post down. You've embarrassed our entire family. People are calling. It's not just about you and Ethan anymore. I laughed. I didn't cheat on anyone, I said. I didn't lie. I didn't commit bigamy. I told the truth. It's gone viral, she hissed. Do you know what this is doing to our name? Our name? I repeated. Carol, I was supposed to be your daughter-in-law. I sat at your table. I helped plan your birthday. I invited you dress shopping. And you smiled in my face while your son planned another wedding. She was silent. So I added. Don't worry. I'll take the post down. The same day Ethan wires me back for the ring he never gave back. She hung up. I didn't take it down. And I never got the money. But I did get something better. Truth. Vindication. Control. And most importantly? Peace. He showed up at my apartment. No warning. I opened the door and there he was, same smug smirk, same pathetic attempt at fake remorse. Clara, he said, like we were old friends. Can we please talk? I didn't move. You lied to 2 women, I said. You planned 2 weddings. You let me plan one while attending the other. What exactly do you think you need to say? He sighed, rubbing his temple like I was the problem. She wasn't supposed to find out like that. I stared. You mean she wasn't supposed to find out at all? His jaw tightened. I made a mistake, he said. I panicked. Things with us were getting complicated, and you proposed to someone else while still engaged to me. He looked down. It wasn't that simple. I folded my arms. You still have the ring, I said. Give it back. I paid for it, he said quickly. It's mine. No, I replied. You gave it to me. That makes it mine. You can either hand it over, or I'll file to recover the value through small claims court. Want to explain that one in front of a judge? With the Reddit post attached? He hesitated. Then pulled it from his pocket. The velvet box. My ring. He tried to hand it to me, but I didn't take it. Leave it on the step, I said. And don't ever come here again. That night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged Liv. Not to attack her. Not to gloat. Just one line. He dropped off the ring. She replied within 5 minutes. Can we meet? I hesitated. It felt messy. Emotional. Dangerous, even. But something in her tone didn't sound angry. It sounded curious. So I said yes. We met at a quiet coffee shop across town. She showed up alone, no makeup, hair tied up, oversized hoodie, nothing like the glowing beach bride I'd seen in the photos. She looked tired. Like she hadn't slept in weeks. I'm not here to fight, she said, sitting down. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. Same, I said. For a minute, we just sat there. 2 women. Same man. Same betrayal. Then she asked the question I wasn't expecting. Did you know he proposed to me 6 months ago? I blinked. 6 months? He proposed to me 8 months ago. She froze. Her eyes welled up. I asked him once if he'd been engaged before, she whispered. He said he almost proposed to someone, but she ghosted him. I felt the heat rise in my chest. I didn't ghost him. We were living together. She nodded slowly. Then pulled something from her bag. It was a card. One of my RSVP cards. Unsent. My sister found this in his office drawer, she said. It had your name on it. It was half filled out. She slid it toward me. And there it was. My name. My address. My original wedding date. And in the corner, in Ethan's handwriting. Return after June. Destroy if found. He never intended to marry me. We sat in silence. Finally, I said, I'm sorry he did this to you. She nodded, tears brimming. I'm sorry he did this to both of us. And then, in a moment I'll never forget, she asked. Do you want to get lunch? We did. And after lunch, we went to a local jeweler and sold the ring. Split the money 50-50. $3,400. Enough to hurt. Enough to heal. Enough to close the door. Later that night, I got one last text from Ethan. Hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. Because it was. Please like and subscribe.